While it's indeed an honor to introduce our president for his annual address, I'd also like to say that it is also an honor to recognize someone who is very important to him and also to the rest of us, his wife, Diane Wood. Diane, would you stand up, please? Wayne Wood's had a long career in Farm Bureau, or you could call it his second career, seeing as how that he's a fourth-generation Sanilac County dairy farmer. He began back in 1984 getting elected to the board as an at-large member before being elected as a District 6 director. He became Farm Bureau president at the annual meeting in 2000. And he's currently in his farm partnership with his wife, Diane, his son, Mark, and his brother, Randy, and his nephew, Greg. They dairy and cash crop, and I suppose like the rest of us, they're all done, right? Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Well, one more time, please help me welcoming President Wayne Wood.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm glad you stood up before the talk, because after I get done, you might not want to, other than to leave. You know, when you're in a position that I find myself in now, you wonder, what kind of a message should you talk about? What are the people expecting today? I remember doing this 14 years ago when I thought the whole stage was shaking. Now it's just the upper part that's shaking, so it's getting better. But I really wondered what to expect from you folks today. It's been such a great run. We've set a bar so high for our organization. We think about the changes that have taken place. Think about the change in particularly how we communicate with our members and how much more effective our members can be with those forms of communication. We think about the leadership that we've seen build within our organization, the success of our Young Farmer program, moving on to Profile, and now a number of slots that we have in the Great Lake Leadership Program. Think about all of those things. We think about a number of years we've had promotion in education, a number of lives that you folks have touched through that program. One of the things that we've been working on for a long time is to have an American Farm Bureau Promotion and Education Committee. And in October, the American Farm Bureau Board formed the American Farm Bureau Promotion and Education Committee. There are people in this room who were very instrumental in making that happen. And yesterday when we talked at the P&E committee, those people know who they are. But you know what? Those people worked on it because they knew you wanted it done. They knew that was the way our organization should go. So they took your passion and transformed it into reality. That's no different than we see at any point in Farm Bureau policy. Our organization works hard on policy, and rightfully so, because the thought process that we go through. You know, there's times when a guy like me might wonder where the delegate body's going on a resolution. What are they thinking about? But they're always right. They're always right. Whether you agree with them or not, they're always right. Which brings on always a challenge. And that challenge is organizational discipline. But for the last 95 years, This organization has survived, continues to thrive, because you folks make organizational discipline happen. It may be not what you exactly believe in, but it is committed as a representative of this organization to make that happen. We've seen that change. We've seen change in the farming operations. Tonight you will hear from the governor, and I got a feeling that, he challenged us to get to 100 billion. We have exceeded that, 101.2. It's kind of like horseshoes. We exceeded it. Wasn't by a lot, but it is significant. I have a feeling that we're going to get that bar raised tonight, too. If you can do that, you can do better. But that's what our governor expects. Our governor respects this organization to the point where he's made it his task to be to this annual meeting every year since he's been elected. He was even here, if you remember right, he was here the year he was elected but hadn't taken office yet. He comes here because he respects you folks. He respects our process, and he likes the camaraderie. When you work with the governor's staff, as some of us have had the opportunity to do, they will walk the governor through the door and they will say, Farm Bureau, take over, because we're not concerned at all. You will have him here, you will have him wherever he should be, and he will be out of here on time. And that's very important to have that relationship. But you have made it happen, not our staff, not our board, not me. You have made that happen. You also, excuse me, you also recognized an opportunity a number of years ago. And that's kind of a throwback, if you will. It's the opportunity to get involved in the election, the opportunity to elect Friends of Agriculture. I think we'd all have to admit that what we went through in this state, in this industry, for a number of years provided the challenge that opened the door to opportunity to really get involved in these campaigns, to really elect Friends of Agriculture. We had Friends of Agriculture, but you personally got involved, and you personally made a difference. And 4 years ago, you've seen what that difference can make, and you've seen what this organization can do when we all work together to influence the outcome that's so important to our state. And as we approach this last election, there were those, including me, I will admit, that thought you were getting pretty complacent. That you thought our Friend of Agriculture, Rick Snyder, was going to be reelected no matter what. We didn't have to go to work. But we did have to go to work. And you did go to work. And you made that happen. And you made it happen to the point where now you are enjoying the continued benefits of getting involved 4 years ago. When you think for 1 minute that your organization has turned the Ag Commission back to 100% farmers from what it was, that is something to be really proud of. When you think that your organization has worked for over 20 years to get a person on the Natural Resources Commission, and if you haven't heard, Christine Crumbaugh will join the Natural Resources Commission, I believe, the 1st of January. It's been announced. It's just a question of whether it's at the next meeting or the 1st of January. Those things are major accomplishments in this world we live in. You are considered a partner of the administration. You are considered a partner of the legislature. All this happens because this organization driven by farmers has a terrific moving force in our society. That is a challenge because it will not always be this way, but you will always need to be involved. Well, as I think back about the last few years in serving in this position, there have been a number of things happen. A number of things happen. You know, and sometimes it's easy to recognize the things that get done. But often it's the things that don't happen that are more important to you. But you don't see them. How many of you knew that at one point there was a concern that not only every livestock farmer would have a permit, that all farms would have a permit, because you were just holding that land till it became available for a better use? How many of you realized that PA 116 was under the microscope to be discontinued at one point? How many of you realize that there was an effort to put taxes on your property to finance state government? No, I don't think too many of you have seen that happen. That's because it never seen the light of day. Because our folks who represent you on a day-to-day basis in the legislature knew that they could unleash the power, that's right, of this organization that each of you hold to stop something from that happening. And when you get a call from not this governor, but another governor, who says, Farm Bureau's in control of the Senate today. Can you please make this happen? Think about that for a minute. Just think about that. Don't let it go to your head. Make it go to your heart. Make it work for the betterment of society, for the betterment of Michigan. Well, as we move forward, we have some things that certainly need to be addressed. Earlier this year, you've seen, if you noticed, we appointed a task force to look at county finance. Because we challenged our insurance company to be very, very successful. And oh, by the way, our insurance companies enjoyed last year one of the best years they've ever had. And that's a salute to the management, that's a salute to you people for purchasing those products and being good risks, which allows us to move forward. Now, I'd be the first to admit that we started out this year with a whole bunch of losses that were not anticipated. Of course, how many of you anticipate a combine fire or wind damage, whatever? You don't anticipate those, but that's what we have insurance for. And yeah, we did jump up a little bit and where our losses were, but you know what? Because of the stability of that insurance company, it was able to withstand those, and if all works as we think it's going to now, at the end of the year, we will be back or above where we were in surplus addition. That's a great salute to not only our management, to all the people who run our company and all the agents who rate the risks. And you should be proud of that. You should be proud of that because you're the folks or your predecessors who formed that company. Now, I certainly would be remiss if we didn't talk about the fact that I think you would find interesting. A year ago now, we had priorities. The board sets priorities annually of what will happen. A year ago now, we had them all done but one. One was hanging out there. And that was the Michigan Merit Curriculum. And I think you're all familiar with that. Give our young folks an opportunity to pick up technical skills so we keep them here in this state. And not only that, but provide the resources that we need in agriculture. There was a staffer who took relentless positive action to heart. The governor might have coined that phrase, but Rebecca Park demonstrated it in her efforts to get that done. Matt Smigo is head of the State Affairs Department, State Affairs Department, which Rebecca Park is part of. I'd like the two of them to stand up, please. Let's thank them. I wish each of you could see those folks in action. Because that book you're going to put together in the next few hours, that becomes not quite, but pretty close to their Bible. And they're not afraid to say to a legislator or even the governor's staff, right here, our folks don't support this. You have to know that we're going to work against you if you're wanting to continue with that. So be very, very careful in the next few days of what you ask for. You know, I talked about what the next chapter would be. And I want this to be, and you should want it to be too, a great celebration. This is an exciting time in our organization, a really exciting time. You're going to get a new leader with new energy, new ideas. You're going to continue to enjoy, in fact, enhance the relationship that you have with the people who are voting on the future of the state of Michigan. You're going to continue to enjoy a resurgence of volunteerism within our organization because we're moving to a point where we're trying to look to see what people are passionate about and move them into a role that allows them to utilize that passion to the benefit of all of Michigan agriculture. This is an exciting time. I want to leave a statement with you. And if I get that up, I want you to remember this. We never lose. We never lose. We either win or we learn. Think about that. Take that home with you. And make your County Farm Bureau think about that statement. There's a lot said there. Every day in this organization, we learn. Let's work together. All of us work together to make sure the next chapter in the Farm Bureau history books will be the most exciting one ever. Thank you to you. Thank you to my family for having the opportunity to serve in this position. It's been a great run. Thank you very much.